Look, sit down. Make yourself, what? At home, I guess. Yeah, why not? Make yourself at home. So, I guess you're telling me that we can't factor this thing down to chronic alcoholism. Too bad.
Too bad? What do you mean, too bad? Too bad I'm not an alcoholic?
You have something against alcoholics now. Alcoholics have enormous potential for change. Enormous. Same with drug addicts, same with sex offenders. Like you, perhaps.
Are you saying I'm a sex offender?
I didn't say it. I implied it.
The way you talk, it's weird. It's upsetting.
It's not weird. It's special. I am special. Get used to it. I had to get used to it, and it wasn't easy. Look, how old are you?
26?
You seem younger, so you're a little behind, a little retarded. Okay, that's forgivable. Still, your potential rates you.
I'm feeling scared.
Scared of your potential?
Scared of you.
You're feeling scared of me? Huh. I thought you'd be feeling at home by now. Didn't I tell you to make yourself at home? Yes, I did. But who knows, for some people making themselves at home is a horrible idea, depending on their background, you know? Oh, I'm sorry. Forgive me. I take it back. Don't make yourself at home. Don't make yourself at home at all. What's wrong with your mouth?
It's dry. Got any water?
Got any water? Of course I've got water. I mean, you know people who don't have water? What are you asking exactly? You'd like some, huh? A glass maybe? You'd like a glass of water? Look, let me be clear about this water thing. I am literal. I have to be, especially now. So I would really appreciate it if while you're here in my home, you will make an effort to be literal too, okay? Say what you mean and mean what you say. I'd like that, wouldn't you? Oops, I forgot. We haven't got any ice. Katie peed in the ice tray. I think she's angry. What do you think?
Warm water will be fine.
Warm it is. Look, I've only got a few minutes. Kate's teacher is coming over, so let's get the lid out.
You're tough, aren't you?
Think so?
Oh, goodness me.
Goodness me what?
I don't mean to complain at a time like this, but there seems to be some sort of a pest floating in my glass.
Let me see, it's probably just a piece of a... What the heck is that? Some sort of organism. Microscopic or something.
I don't think it would be that big if it was microscopic. Do you?
Do you want it or not?
No thanks.
Fine. Yum. What do you want?
So somebody at state said kill him?
They did not. They decided to capture him, if possible.
And it wasn't. So now Michael is going...
Nothing will happen to Michael for all we know. The risks were carefully analyzed.
Oh, the president's image. That's what was analyzed? Did he need to look forceful this week?
Look, we can't assume that any of the hostages will be harmed simply because one terrorist leader was intercepted.
Killed! Use English.
Killed. It was the judgment of the department that Michael and the others would not be overly endangered.
Was that your judgment? You don't answer questions like that, do you?
No.
Is it because you know if you start, you'll never be able to stop?
During the war between Iran and Iraq, there was an offensive. Iranian soldiers, Shiites, like the people holding Mecca, needed a way to break through the Iraqi minefields. They chose an all-out frontal assault, classic World War I stuff, but with one difference. To clear the minefields, the Iranian army, which has some significant technical limitations, used boys. The boys didn't go out and dig up the mines. They ran over them. The mines blew up, killing the boys, and the soldiers followed after, across the newly cleared fields. These boys were 14, 15, up to 20. Some were as young as 10. They had volunteered for the duty. They wanted to be martyrs. And their families too. Many of them freely gave their sons to this honor. The boys wore white headbands and ran into the fields, shouting Shahid, which means martyr. Some of them rubbed themselves in blankets first, so that when they were killed, the explosion wouldn't blow them apart quite so much, and their bodies could be gathered more easily and returned home to inspire other boys to take the same path. Their parents do not grieve. They're proud and satisfied their sons are in heaven. To them a place as tangible as this, without pain. There are times when it becomes impossible to negotiate, when the very fact of negotiating legitimizes a philosophy that's not human anymore. Those places where such a philosophy reigns have to be isolated. Those people who try to extend such a philosophy must be stopped at any cost. This is how I came to love my vagina. It's embarrassing because it's not politically correct. I mean, I know it should have happened in a bath with salt grains from the Dead Sea, Enya playing, me loving my woman self. I know the story. Vaginas are beautiful. Our self-hatred is only the internalized depression and hatred of the patriarchal culture. It isn't real. Pussies unite. I know all of it. Like if we'd grown up in a culture where we were taught that fat thighs were beautiful, we'd all be pounding down milkshakes and cookies, lying on our backs, spending our days thigh expanding. But we didn't grow up in that culture. So I hated my thighs, and I hated my vagina even more. I thought it was incredibly ugly. I was one of those women who had looked at it, and from that moment on, wished I hadn't. It made me sick. I pitied anyone who had to go down there. In order to survive, I began to pretend that there was something else between my legs. I imagined furniture, cozy futons with light cotton comforters, little velvet settees, leopard rugs, or pretty things, silk handkerchiefs, quilted pot holders, or place settings or miniature landscapes, clear crystal lakes, or moisty Irish bogs. I got so accustomed to this that I lost all memory of having a vagina. Whenever I had sex with a man, I pictured him inside a mink-lined muffler, or a red rose, or a Chinese ball. Then I met Bob. Bob was the most ordinary man I ever met. He was thin and tall and nondescript and wore khaki clothes. Bob did not like spicy foods or listen to Prodigy. He had no interest in sexy lingerie. In the summer, he spent time in the shade. He did not share his inner feelings. He did not have any issues or problems. He was not even an alcoholic. He wasn't very funny or
articulate or mysterious. He wasn't mean or unavailable. He wasn't self-involved or charismatic. He didn't drive fast. I didn't particularly like Bob. I would have missed him altogether if he hadn't picked up my change that I dropped on the deli floor. When he handed me back my quarters and pennies, and his hand accidentally touched mine, something happened. I went to bed with him. That's when the miracle occurred. Turned out, Bob loved vaginas. He was a connoisseur. He loved the way they felt, the way they smelled, the way they tasted, but most important, he loved the way they looked. He had to look at them. The first time we had sex, he told me he had to see me. "I am right here," I said. "No, you," he said. "I have to see you." "Turn on the light," I said. Thinking he was a weirdo, I was freaking out in the dark. He turned on the light, and then he said, "Okay, I'm ready to see you." "I'm right here," I said, "right here." Then Bob began to undress me. "What are you doing, Bob?" I said. "I need to see you," he replied. "Oh, no need, just dive in." "No, I need to see what you look like," he said. "But you've seen a red leather couch before," I said. Bob continued. He wouldn't stop. I wanted to throw up and die. "This is awfully intimate," I said. "Can't you just dive in?" "No," he said. "It's who you are. I need to look." I held my breath. He looked and looked. He gasped and smiled. He stared and groaned. He got breathy. His face changed. He didn't look ordinary anymore. He looked like a hungry, beautiful beast. "You're so beautiful," he said. "You're elegant and deep, innocent and wild." "You saw that there?" I said. It was like he read my palm. "I saw that," he said, "and more, much, much more." He stayed looking for almost an hour, as if he were studying a map, observing the moon, staring into my eyes. But it was my vagina. In the light, I watched him looking at me. And he was so genuinely excited, so peaceful and euphoric, that I began to get wet and turned on. I began to see myself the way he saw me. I began to feel beautiful and delicious, like a great painting or a waterfall. Bob wasn't afraid. He wasn't grossed out. I began to swell, began to feel proud, began to love my vagina. And Bob, he lost himself there. And I was there with him in my vagina. And we were gone.